Hi guys, what is up? I'm filming on my computer today. It's so exciting that I have a computer. um, and I just wanted to test this out. I've also been lacking on the posting. I've just been so busy. I started going to school, so that's been keeping me busy. And right now I'm doing a lot of writing, which is fun because I think it's something about writing is so special to me, especially when it's like me and my thoughts and like words. Um, but I wanted to come on here because it's been such a long time since I've made a video, and I'm always thinking about like what to say next and when to post, and all preoccupying my thoughts with how to talk on here. But I need to make more effort to actually film. So this is me doing that. Um Today, something that I thought about a lot was I'm gonna kind of group it all together, but it's gonna like I'm just gonna say it. Trusting myself, self-sabotage, and subconsciously knowing myself. Okay, that's kind of what I want to talk about. So I don't know if you guys have ever like done something and immediately were like overthinking it for 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever the spiral caused, however many minutes the spiral caused, and regretted it, or just maybe not even regretted it, but we're like, why did I do that? Just like questioning yourself. And that happened to me today because today was my first day back, or my first day going to school in person. And I was so nervous. I don't know if you guys are get nervous your first day back anywhere. I was so nervous because I took a gap year. So I haven't gone to school for a full year, and going back, seeing all these people, I was like, my heart was pumping. My heart was pumping a lot. And I remember being like excited nervous though. I wasn't really anxious nervous. I was more excited nervous. And anywho, so this morning, I was the first one to get introduced, or I was the first one that had to introduce myself to the class, and the first thing I said was, do I stand up, or can I just sit down? And the instructor was like, oh, you can do whatever's comfortable for you. And so we have like these rolling chairs where, we can rotate them. And I remember like I was at the corner. I was the very front corner. So um it made sense, but to go first, but also like it made sense for me to like turn my chair and face everyone because they were all like over here and I was like right here. And so I did that. And I remember like just seeing everyone staring at me. I was like so nervous. I was so nervous, and like I couldn't even stare at them for like more than 4 seconds. But all we had to do was say our name, our background, why we chose the course, and a boring fact. I remember just saying everything so quickly, like my name, where I'm from, why I chose it, and a boring fact. And throughout that whole like I wouldn't say it's a minute, it was a minute long. I would say like 30 minutes. I was stuttering. My face was like burning hot. I don't know if it was red, but it was burning hot. I could feel it. And just like seeing everyone staring at me made me so nervous. Like the second I said my boring fact was just, I write. I like literally was like, I write. And I turned around and I like drank water. And for some reason, this is like, I might be thinking about this too deeply, but actually I don't think so. Because then, okay, wait, yeah, I said that. Okay, and I drink water immediately because I was like so nervous. I'm like, oh my god, all these people were just staring at me. And afterwards, I noticed that like nobody else did that. Nobody was facing like our peers, at least no one in the front row. Everyone was just facing forward and the teacher, which makes sense for like the people in the middle and back. But for me, it made sense to turn around since I was technically introducing myself to the class and not just the teacher. And as everyone was talking and I was just like listening because I was up front, so I wasn't like facing everyone. Anytime someone said like I don't know what to say, I would just turn to look at them and because like that's such a human thing to express. And like someone said, a boring fact is I like to do nothing. Like every time someone said something just like real, I like would turn and look at them. And I realized that nobody else was like facing each other. They were all just facing forward, which makes sense, but I think it was just because I was first and I didn't know what I was going to say. I just like did it. It was like impulse. Like it wasn't even like, "Oh, I'm going to face and turn everyone." It was just like something I did. And as I was hearing these responses, again, I wasn't turned around facing them, but I was hearing them. Everyone sounded so like certain, so calm, and like they knew what they were saying, which I'm sure they were nervous, but I didn't hear it. And because I wasn't facing them, I didn't see them, but I just didn't hear them. Whereas me, when I went, I was like, literally, literally. But I just thought it was like interesting because I don't know. And I was kind of like overthinking it a little bit. I'm like, why did I turn around and face everyone? Like, that's so dumb. Like, oh my gosh, I'm like embarrassed now. I'm also like super nervous and anxious. And like, I was kind of just like jittery that whole like that whole class. Cause I realized I did something that like nobody was doing and I didn't like have the social cue, I guess. I don't know. It might have just also just been the fact that I was first. But then I started wondering like I don't know, what was I thinking? I was just okay. I'm not gonna lie, like that. I do remember writing. I actually wrote about it because you guys, it was serious. I wrote, okay. Today I felt an enormous feeling, nervousness. It was my first day of college and everything felt intense, big, and pleasurable all at once to me. I definitely was feeling nervous, anxious nervousness for a while, but then it turned into an excitement nervousness that I found quite exhilarating. I was the first to introduce myself and I asked whether I should stand or stay seated, and my instructor said, "Your choice." So I sat. And since I was in the front corner, I turned and faced everyone for a couple of seconds and was and that was all I was able to give to people of eye contact. I think I sounded pretty nervous, and as I quickly rambled my answers. And as soon as I finished, I turned around so quickly and drank water nervously. However, as people were sharing, I noticed all they all sounded pretty calm and certain. I'm sure they were nervous too, but I was actually fascinated by how they were all able to hide their nervousness pretty well. And then I realized I was the only person who faced everyone. Most people were sitting in the middle or the back, which makes sense, but the people at the front sat still and only faced the instructor. I'm not really sure why I did. It just made sense to face the people I was introducing myself. I was still super nervous though at the time. Wait, super nervous though throughout 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 the time people were introducing themselves. I was actually thinking later in the car, I loved the intense, exhilarating, anxious feeling that I had. It wasn't bad. It was just so big that I knew I was feeling it all at once. I love feelings. And then I wrote, it made me uncomfortable and I kind of loved feeling alive. So, yeah, mind you, that was a psychology class. So, like, I was already, like, studying the human behavior, I guess, maybe. Maybe that's why I was thinking about it so much. But, okay, that's not even, like, really what I wanted to talk about because I want to go a little further into that. Okay. I got a psych reading done yesterday, and the psychic I went to is pretty popular. Like he's really well known in the area, and he was telling me about like how the 2 years were gonna look because he was focused on my present, and he told me that he's not really worried about my career. He's not worried about my relation, like my love life. He's not worried about like my future. He's just worried about who I am right now. And he said that that I will sabotage myself, that he thinks that like what I need to work on is trusting myself and not like self-sabotaging. And he said that you just need to trust yourself, and there will be times where you question yourself or think, why did I do that, or regret something, but you just got to let that go and just trust yourself and trust who you are. And that kind of like connected back to this moment, and I just now realized this like a couple minutes ago. That's why I wanted to say this, that like I guess I was so curious about like, oh, well, like psychologically I was like, like what, why did I do that, but then why did everyone not do that? And it's like not that I was like trying to compare it, but it was just like, okay. I I love researching, like observing and analyzing human behavior, and I am a human, so like I am the main source to like all that observations that I feel whenever I think something, feel something, a situation arises, I make a certain action, I don't make a certain action, I always question like why, because I'm like my main researcher, I'm like my specimen, and I'm also like the scientist studying the specimen. So I love that about just like my life, I guess. And that's why I was like thinking about that, about oh, why did they do it, no, why didn't they do it but I did. And like there's not really like a big like, oh, you're just like this or you're just like that. I genuinely just think that like it was like in the moment I was the first one up, so like everyone else got to kind of see what the norm was. And which is interesting because I did hear like a lot of questions repeat answers repeating themselves, like everyone was saying their favorite color as a boring fact, which I thought was like, oh, like everyone's saying their favorite color right now as their boring fact. And anyways, that was pretty interesting. But okay, this ties back. I promise it ties back. Okay. And then like although I did love that like nervousness and like that feeling of being perceived, and it made me like so uncomfortable, but I loved it. I did I remember afterwards driving the car thinking, why did I do that? Why was I like facing everyone? And not that it was bad, and not that people that were facing forward were bad. Like nothing was bad. It was just like me observing that's not the norm, and then what I did, because like of course I'm my like own specimen and my little researcher, and like whatever. And yeah, so I was driving the car and I was like, why did I like, oh my gosh, like I don't know why I faced forward, like I should have just like faced the instructor. And I was kind of like overthinking a little bit, but not so heavily. I was definitely more flabbergasted and like a little embarrassed after the fact, not like during the moment where I was like facing everyone. It was after, when I realized no one was doing it. And even more so like in the car when I realized like, oh, I really did that. And it's like interesting because my the psychic that I went to was like, there's like the main issue he thought was that right now he thinks that I am my worst enemy. And I think it's pretty cool that he was like able to like say that, even if I'm not saying that like, okay, I believe in psychics, like that's why I went to him. Like I don't know if anyone else does, but I think like whenever you hear things people tell you, you just automatically kind of become aware of it or like observe it even if you don't mean to. And I think when I heard that, it just kind of stuck with me. And after, so then afterwards, when I guess I was like in metacognition where I was thinking about my own thinking, and I was thinking, and I heard my thinking be, I regret doing that, and I don't know why I did that, like questioning myself. And that's when like a light bulb appeared, and I was like, oh my god, this is exactly what this man told me that was gonna happen. Like he literally said, I'm going to question myself a lot or doubt myself or, you know, regret things. And that was literally what I was doing. Like I was literally like regretting facing the class. But now I'm definitely thinking, I'm not thinking that. Like it's just it was just like what was it? It's like it was just a subconscious thing. Like there wasn't really any big, instruction or thought or anything. It was like an automatic. And I think that's where I'm trying to learn to trust myself. Like, instead of being so like embarrassed or regretful of facing people, like, I realized, wait, but that's just like who I am. Like, that's how I conduct myself and in front of people. And then I like started to think about like all the times in the past where I've like definitely regretted something or thought that I did something stupid or like questioned why I did anything or said anything that was like embarrassing to me. But like that's just who I am. Like I said it because that's who I am. Like I face the people because that's just who I am. It doesn't have to mean like this revolution of like, oh, you're just this kind of person or that kind of person. It's just me. And I think that's where like my analytical side can be a double-edged sword where something like the incident this morning made me think about, well, but like the thing is, okay, I'm like pause right now. The thing is, I really do like researching like behaviors and why I do certain behaviors and why certain people do certain behaviors. That is fascinating, but to some extent I think I need to learn how to not overanalyze it. But anyways, okay. um so yeah, I guess that's what I'm trying to learn now, instead of like thinking that my decisions are embarrassing or regretting my decisions or whatever the case may be. And like I guess doubting myself and questioning myself. I don't know why I'm putting quotation marks because technically I was questioning myself. I'm trying to learn to see myself as like a person instead of a little experiment, which is crazy because I just talked about how I love to do that. But yeah, I'm sorry, I'm like trying to think because yeah, I want to stop doubting myself so much or questioning like the actions I do so much, because sometimes the answer is just like that's just who you are, like that's just what you do, like that's just you, instead of it being like, oh my god, I regret that, or I'm embarrassing, or I'm weird, or whatever it is. Like that's literally just me. Like there's no study behind it. It's just my nature to be that way. And stop being so hard on myself, even though like I don't really think it's that I'm like saying bad things to myself like in my head. It's more of like the overthinking of it and overanalyzing of it is what is bad. Yeah. Well, anyways, I am so glad I got to catch up. I really, really want to post more and just like any thoughts that I have. I'm gonna try to keep this up. Um, but right now with school and working, and I want to go to the gym like way more often than I am. I don't know how or when. And I'm writing a lot right now. So I don't know, maybe I'll do something with that, cuz I definitely think that like my writing and my observational and analytical skills about people are really what's like my driving force right now, which it's like the source is psychology and the oh fuck, I wrote it down somewhere, but I don't even know what it was. But it's like my source is psychology, but like writing is the witness of it. It's the like bringing it to life. And then YouTube is just the love of my life. Okay. Um, that was all for today. I will see you guys next time. Bye. Oh, that's not touchscreen. Bye.